second of the biggest kind of. Maybe it's just in my mind that they're the biggest names. Like I think of it as like the spectrum of the Touhou stuff and the Cave stuff. Maybe that's a lie.
I mean, I feel like not being into shmups, I've heard of Touhou like a lot more than just about any other shooter maker.
Yeah, well, they have big fans, and I think also because the fan base extends really far through like the music and the characters. I have for the Slack, I've been holding on to an image I have that's just a giant flowchart of character relationships in Touhou, just because sometime I'm going to get the opportunity to say,
Oh,
"Oh, you want to know about this, do you?" And it will be crazy when I do.
I feel like more people have seen a Touhou like fan anime music video than have actually played these games at this point.
Especially because one ended up on CNN once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't know what the heck it was.
Was it that one that gosh, was it Leak Spin?
It was it
Oh wait, no, Leak
was
Spin is something. Leak Spin is Bleach, and
yeah.
Spin.
This was a thing for "Bad Apple" is the song. It's from one of the really old Toho's, and someone did a music video, and somehow CNN was talking about it. I can try to find the YouTube.
I think I know which one you're talking about. I can. I'm not going to attempt to recreate it here because it requires singing and saying Japanese words, which I'm not willing to do on a stream.
Yeah, well, there is singing in it, so that's probably the right one. I like how this isn't an arcade game, so I can just sit on stuff. So hopefully everything is up. So one thing that's probably intimidating about this game is this character select screen because everyone is
Oh yeah, it's real confusing. The first time I picked one of these, it's like, what the hell does any of this mean?
yeah, and this game is
And why are there two of them?
yeah, pairs of characters. So it's just probably I mean, in the end you just got four characters. The characters just happen to be two characters. Although you eventually unlock the ability to play as any of the individual people too, but that's deep in.
Now, is this one of the games where you switch between like a focused and a general attack?
Yeah, that's always there, but it's even more pronounced here because the focused versus the general is the two characters. So the idea is that you've got like a human character, and then it says phantom side here, like someone supernatural. And God, there's so much like Toho lore that I could just spend a long time explaining who these people are. Like there's whenever I go on the wiki, I fall into a wiki hole that is really crazy. I'm just going to pick one and go with it because otherwise, like, this is a deep hole. I'm going to pick my favorite. I happen to like Marissa.
I'm really looking forward to watching you play this because like went out of my way to not read strategies for this to just kind of see like how hard it is to just pick one of these up from the fan translations and just what the game shows you. So it's interesting to see like what I'm doing, what I might be doing wrong.
Right. I'm playing on the easiest difficulty, so I get like as far as possible. And again, for maximum chillness. Now I'm playing as okay, I don't remember the actual name because it's all freaking gibberish, but playing as Marissa, Karisame, and her friend slash rival Alice. God, what's her last name? Margatroyd. I think something. It's a reference to a. No, wait. It's a different character who is the reference to uh, Margaret Atwood novels or something. So yeah, I've forgotten a lot about.
When they say these things are Dojin games, does that mean like these are literally based on another series, or it's just more that they're amateur games?
Yeah, Dojin just means like indie, amateur.
Okay.
I'm accidentally skipping some of the text, but other than that, I suspect the translation is not very good because it's hard to follow. It's like it's pretty funny because none of these characters give a crap. It's like a characteristic that all these games are. Oh, there's a problem. We're going to solve it. But like in this game, the problem is that the moon looks weird. And now we're
Like the one, I think it might be either Touhou 4 or 5, where you're going through a forest full of yokai, and it's just like every yokai you run into is trying to fight you for reasons that aren't really clear, and they immediately regret fighting you every single time afterwards.
yeah, and that's pretty much it. Although more recently there have been some like kind of villainous characters, but like even then they're just kind of idiots and people forget immediately what they were doing.
I could kind of go for a game right about now that's just like nothing but lovable goofballs who don't really want to hurt you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically what it is. I think sometimes it's hard to tell, but I think that's true.
So, is there a thing you can do with your spells whenever you die or are near death?
All right, so your spells are your bombs, right? So naturally they clear off all of the bullets, do some damage to the enemies. What you can do is, I think most of the games have death bombing, where there's a period after you get hit where you can still bomb out of it and pretend you didn't get hit.
Okay, and does that actually save your life?
Yes.
Huh. I don't know why. I always assumed it was just like a free bomb use before you died because I never managed to pull it off. Huh. That's neat.
Yeah, this one has like a wider range of time that you can do it, but if you're outside of that like really narrow death bomb range, you do a different spell that's more powerful, and it's the character you're not playing as who does it.
Yeah.
And it uses 2 bombs instead of 1, so it's a penalty, but you don't lose a life, which is better than losing a life.
That's a good way of putting it.
And there's even a lot of systems I'm not even kind of hitting on, like the time gauge over there, where you get these time orbs, and it's actually kind of weird because basically what it does is just give you more continues. Since the way this game is you're trying to finish this by the end of the night at 5 a.m., and every continue is half an hour. And every time you clear a level, if you did really well, it'll take a half an hour from you. Otherwise, it takes a full hour.
Oh, okay, so you're basically playing until sunrise.
Yeah. And doing well in this case is defined as getting that quota of time orbs.
Gotcha.
And you get them from like, they'll come out of the bullets and familiars of an enemy if you kill them, or if you're unfocused playing as the human character. This little gauge in the bottom left corner goes blue, and otherwise it goes red if you're playing as your yokai. So when it's sufficiently blue, you gain points from hitting stuff, and when it's red, you gain stuff from killing stuff and getting near bullets, grazing, what we call it, grazing bullets. Just means not touching them and getting close to them.
And I keep seeing you go to the top of the screen every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, so that's just because all those point items will automatically go to you if you go to the top of the screen. Otherwise, you have to catch them. And they're worth more money the higher up you are.
Oh, cool.
And that's important, too, because, points equal more lives. I'm probably going through this fast, but we've got Lorelei here. She's a sparrow, or a night sparrow or something. I don't know what that is. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I would understand a little bit better if I knew, like, any significant amount of the folklore that's being called upon with these games. Because there's weird stuff like how Marisa is a magician or a witch or something, and then Alice is also, but she's a yokai. But they just also call her a magician, and she was a human, but she's not now. So it's a little bit tough to follow, which is why I fall down the wiki hole sometimes. basically speaking, like general differences from say Dodonpachi I just played. You've got bullets that move slower, but there's just really intricate patterns.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a lot more like I don't know how to describe them, like tricky bullets.
Yeah, just it's kind of like a gimmick, and they use it to almost like reveal something about the character. I mean, not really, but you'll see their personality in it. They'll have a gimmick. Lorelei likes to make things dark. That's kind of one of her gimmicks. So I sort of have to use the indicator on the bottom to tell where she is, since I'm playing as a character who likes focus damage. I'm kind of switching the characters a bit just because for these two specifically, uh, if you do that, it just does a lot of damage, which is probably an oversight. You can get both of their bullets on screen at once.
Oh, cool. Huh. I always like the kind of silly backgrounds of these games, where it's just like a couple of sprites interleaved, like parallax scrolling just right to make it look like it's 3D.
Yeah, and then of course you've got kind of like bad character designs because, I mean, they've gotten better over time. The quality of the art was not the strength of these character designs. But I have a great deal of fondness for how they're written and just the fact that it's a game from Japan with an all-female cast that's not gross at all, which is nice.
Yeah. Yep.
I think for a long time I just sort of assumed it was, which isn't fair and it's wrong, but you just get used to that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's more like there are a lot of people on the internet that will do a lot of bad things to characters, and if you don't necessarily know the source material, it's hard to differentiate what's original versus what was a fan.
Yeah, that too, I'm sure. Ooh, I got tricky there and took a hit, but that's fine. Yeah, now we've got Kane here, who, again, like, she's a half beast, which means she turns into a beast in the full moon. But this is a fake full moon, so she's just a human. But in the extra level, that's when she has her true power and kind of like horns or something. But it's different from a werewolf because there's a character in a different game who is a werewolf.
I'm just sitting over here nodding, watching this really pretty. It's weird for how the character design looks and like how kind of simple everything is graphically. Like it still is a very good game to look at for the most part.
Oh yeah, definitely. Things that matter look nice. Well, those backgrounds are pretty pretty. I don't understand like what it represents, but
It made a little bit more sense when it was just trees.
yeah, there's something here about how like there was a village, but Kane sealed it away so that it wouldn't be in trouble during this weird night. Your player characters made the night last longer with magic so that they could look at the moon. So a lot of people are mad at them and attacking them because they don't realize the moon is weird.
I'm reading the text here. It's pretty good.
Yeah, there's some like actual funny stuff.
So I
But
don't want to fight you, but you guys are freaking me out, so we're gonna fight.
yep. And of course, all your characters are just total goofballs. You're playing as Team Vampire. At the end of the level is just like someone's Romelia the vampire, and her maid is the other character. Their maid, who is a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reference and can stop time. But anyway, Romelia just says something, and the maid Sakia responds with like, "That has nothing to do with what we were talking about." Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Do you know which JoJo the maid is referencing?
The dude who says Zawarudo and throws knives.
Okay, yeah.
and drops a forklift on you. That's like all of my JoJo's knowledge. That and roundabout.
You're talking about like that Dreamcast fighting game.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know that he does that in the fighting game, and that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a man. That was a old internet meme for a very long time. The
Oh yeah, the
just Dio entering other people's games and throwing that steamroller on them.
it's good. I can understand why. It's very memorable.
So far we've referenced Meat Spin, Zarudo meme, and then that one Touhou video that made it onto CNN.
Yeah,
So meme count is three.
yeah. No like fresh memes though. These are pretty.
Let me tell you about that boy. For 2017.
Talk about all your base. That's a shooter too. So I'm basically like inevitably going to have to end up there.
The problem is new memes are like impossible to talk about, so there's almost no point in doing it.
Yeah, classic memes. You can they're past now that we can view them with nostalgia.
Yeah.
That was actually a thing. Something awful. I once let's played the weird action front mission game on the SNES. That part isn't important, but I ended up recording videos of some parts with another guy and talking about I still had plenty of HP left. And he said, if you still have over 8,000 HP. And I said, well, let's see, 0 counts on that bar. So actually I have over 9,000. And then there was like a beat, and then I realized like what I had done and how horrible it was. And I was very sad.
Oh.
So another thing with these games is usually the 4th level or the 4th boss changes depending on who you pick. And so one of the reasons that I chose this team is that I like the music for this version of the boss better.
Actually, let me check the stream real quick.
Sure. That's probably a good idea. I'm going to...
I don't think I can hear the music on the stream.
That's a shame. Hold on then. No, I can't. That. Well, that's a shame. I don't know any easy way to fix that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I would have to be doing it within the game. Whatever, it's fine. But
I think it might be that OBS just isn't, or whatever you're using isn't set up to recognize this as an audio source.
I think I probably, because I just turned it down too much. It's very strange because I turn it up to like the lowest possible volume I can do, and it's incredibly loud. In my headphones, but not in the stream. The recording is going good, but I can't hear anything. And from the sound of my just ears exploding and leaking blood everywhere.
So this boss is another Touhou, right?
Yeah, this is the main character of the series. This is Reimu. You can play as like she has a different team. So you either fight her or Marisa, but I'm playing as Marisa, so it's obvious you would fight as her.
Let's get out the way.
Yeah, there's some stuff. I do like how Marissa is actually like kind of terrified of Reimu for a while there. Like, no, don't make her mad.
That's great.
She's the main character. She's a big deal. Yeah, it's a shame. I'm sure I'll end up hitting the Well of Touhou again, and I'll definitely make sure the actual sound works because, I mean, the first game was made because the guy who makes them wanted a place to show off his music. It's always really, really good.
Huh. I didn't know that, but yeah, it makes sense. It is really good music.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a shooter for a while. It was weird. Like the first game was kind of like a breakout kind of thing. And this was like pre-Windows. This was on like one of those computers before PCs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the first 5 were, a couple of them were Twinkle Star Sprites knockoffs. Well, one before Windows and one in Windows. The game after this, actually, number 9, is another Twinkle Star Sprites knockoff, which is kind of like a shmup crossed with Puyo Puyo.
Probably good they moved away from some of that.
Yeah.
a hardcore following for a breakout clone.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Only a couple of characters like made the jump into Windows. It was kind of this weird soft reboot. But now, like whenever anyone shows up, they can just keep showing up in tons of other games, and everything gets way more complicated with each game. I guess it pretty much just comes down to how popular they are, but like looks like the cast for the next game of playable characters is a little bit non-standard. In fact, I'm not. I think it's Reimu and Marisa because they're always in, but then like Cerno the Ice Fairy, who's just a popular gag character with the fans, and Aya the Tengu, who was invented just so that she could because he had an idea for a spin-off game, so he made a character to make it work.
Huh.
So she's also popular, but I don't think she's been playable in any of the mainline games up until this point. She's a reporter, you see, so the spin-off is called Shoot the Bullet, and you take pictures of bullets.
Huh. Seems kind of neat.
Yeah. There's another one too, which has an even better name, which is Double Spoiler, which doesn't really make sense, but I like to imagine like that's even worse than a spoiler.
I was picturing just a car spoiler, one on the front, one on the
Oh, that's good too.
There's two of you, so I get two tries.
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I just noticed at the bottom of the screen. So I've played this, and I never saw this before. There's a thing at the bottom of the screen that shows where the enemy is.
Yep. Yeah, that's very, very useful. Because usually you're not looking at the enemy with these sorts of games. You definitely want to be looking at yourself and the bullets that you can dodge.
Yeah.
I think it's another thing why these get, again, they are hard, especially depending on the game. But when you see like a screenshot, you just see all of these bullets and you might think that they're all heading towards you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You look at any Touhou, and it looks impossible.
Yeah.
Just having not played them. But,
Yeah. It looks harder than it is for that reason.
like, I've played this game. Like I've played it on hard and stuff like that. And I know how hard it gets, and even this on easy looks impossibly difficult. Just watching you do it.
Yeah.
This is still a lot harder than I think most games' easy modes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's pretty true, I think. Oh, yeah, I used the most important bomb, the Master Spark. It's just a gigantic laser,
Oh wow. Yeah, that's huge. Huh.
and she uses it against you if you fight her as a boss. I love this pattern that I'm in now. I'm probably a bit behind, but I was working.
Like box
Yeah,
waves of bullets coming out.
yeah. I don't know. For some reason, this is just like the one I remember the best from this game.
It looks cool. Yeah.
Now here in stage 5 is pretty much always a mansion. You just no matter what, there's always a mansion in all of these games.
I want to run to the kitchen real quick and grab myself a drink.
Sure. Yeah. Just chill here with the rabbits. These See, now I'm wondering, did the fairies always have the rabbit ears, or is it just here? I've never looked close enough to really notice more than that there are fairies. Oof, it's gonna hurt me. So, fun fact. This team can pick up items by going to the top of the screen. They all can, but normally you have to be fully powered up. That's just one of the special cases of this team, is that they can do it no matter what. It's just a minor benefit. So there's like a team that their items fall slower. There's one that if they die with any bombs still in stock, they haven't used them all, they'll get a free one, which doesn't make up for having died, but it partially does.
All right, I'm back.
Right? Pretty much.
I'm ready to make more mic noise.
Yeah, Mike Noise. Michael Noise, that's my name.
My name can't be pronounced in your language. The closest you come to is Michael Noise, but it's actually pronounced. Oh yeah, this is a creepy mansion.
Yes. I do miss those pre-Windows games. The enemies were all these doofy-looking ghosts, and I do kind of miss those.
Ghosts with rabbit ears.
Yeah, yeah. These are fairies with rabbit ears. Fairies are all right too. And they're all idiots in the Touhou universe.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Every supernatural entity is either an idiot or a child, or maybe both.
Yeah, usually both. Like the first fighting game, the plot is that there's an Oni, she's the villain, and she just wants to get everyone drunk and have a party.
That sounds like one of my characters in Darkest Dungeon. I can tell I'm in for a really bad time because I've already started to get attached to like 4 or 5 of my characters.
Oh,
Everybody says
that's
that
bad.
the game gets awful.
Yeah, but that's half the fun. It's like XCOM.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And seeing how you're gonna fuck over everybody else in order to save the one guy that you care about.
So now we're getting some of the like story about how the Moon Princess, like Kaguya, the pretty typical folktale one, is there, and she's running from her enemies on the moon. And that's why the moon is weird, because they're trying to seal the earth to protect her. So we've got this rabbit in the business suit. And Raysen has mesmerizing eyes, which I don't remember exactly how that works. But I know how it works in the bullets, which is that she makes things flash and bullets turn invisible, and it's all pretty cool. Yeah, I actually I haven't seen the ending with these characters because I tried to beat it on normal, and I've gotten to like the last bullet pattern with one on one credit, which to get the real ending you got to beat the game with one credit. So I don't know how the ending is going to go. I don't know how much of the story they'll actually talk about, but the whole thing with people on the moon she's running from is also the plot of Touhou 15. So it took a number of years for that to pay off.
I didn't know there were that many games.
Oh, I mean, the 16th one is the one coming out, but that doesn't count the spin-offs. There's like 3 fighting games now. At least, yeah, there's the 2 games with Eye of the Tengu. There's a couple of other spin-offs. There's books, there's comics. It's pretty wild. And it's actually like generally written by the same guy too.
Oh wow, this is a really cool pattern you're doing right now.
Yeah,
The enemy's doing.
yeah. I like all the stuff. Of course, I'm playing on easy, so there's usually a few more bits to it, but it still comes across. I like that, the basic idea of it all. Everything she does is really, really cool. Also, I'm sure I've seen this before in my life, but I like how it's called the loafing sign. That is the attack name.
Yeah, I saw. I was just thinking like this is a very charming translation.
Yeah, I think it's all fan stuff. Also, interestingly, like I don't. If I put this up on YouTube, if I get the ending and put this up on YouTube, might be like the only goddamn place on the internet to find an ending for this game because one time the creator was like, "Oh yeah, you can put playthroughs on the internet if you like, but don't spoil the ending or something." And people took it very seriously. You like the wikis that have translation of every single bit of dialogue do not have the endings,
Huh.
and it's very, very, very dumb because it's not. It doesn't make sense, but they took it very seriously. I know, I know. I mean, there was actually a person who let's played a few of the games on something awful and showed them, but I don't remember if he got this far. Anyway, this is the B version of the final level because first you have to beat the A version, and that unlocks the ability to go to the B version if you get here without continuing. And at this point, you can't use continues; it'll just instantly fail you, which is why I have not beaten this except on easy.
So these only exist as like PC games, right? There wasn't ever like a Touhou arcade game.
No, they were only on computers. Although they did start putting fan games on like Vita and stuff.
Hmm.
Because I mean, there's a fan game for like every possible genre and thing. There's an EDF clone Touhou fan game.
Huh. Haven't played EDF in a long time, and the new one is still way too expensive on Steam.
Yeah. Plus, it's just like, I mean, I part of me is like doesn't want to play it because like, oh, I already played the base version of that game, but it's not like there's actually different enough for that to make sense.
Yeah, the last one I played was that first one out on the 360 when everybody was like going nuts over the destructible buildings and everything.
Yeah. Oop. Those are fun games. They're not the best, but they're fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like a lot of solid like B tier games. Like they aren't quite indie games, they aren't quite AAA games. They aren't quite good.
Yes, B games.
They're B games.
Yeah, let's just discuss what counts as a B game for 6 hours.
That's how you get people on social media to notice you.
Ugh.
I'm looking at Guilty Gear games on Steam and I have no idea. I'm just they're so confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, I only know Blaze Blue, so which has a very straightforward naming scheme. You know, it's just Calamity Trigger and then uh, Continuum Shift and Chrono Phantasma and Central Fiction. I don't see how anyone could be confused by those names. You've got Moon Princess Lady. These are our final boss, impossible requests, etc., whatever. So also the all these games have an extra level that's just very, very hard, and you can unlock it if you beat the game with 1 credit and whatever. The boss at the end of it for this game is like this phoenix themed girl who drank the Horai elixir or whatever and is immortal. And Princess here just sends people out to assassinate her once in a while, just to annoy her, I think, because it won't take because she's immortal,
That's great.
and that is the plot of that.
I can really appreciate a game like this that where it's difficult, but it was tuned to be defeated on 1 quarter, basically.
Yeah.
So I think back to a lot of those old like a lot of those old American arcade brawlers and things like that, like
Oh yeah.
Turtle
Oh God, yeah. Total Carnage. Yeah,
Total Carnage, yeah.
that is not a good game.
Yeah, and those games basically have like quarter checks midway through where you're gonna die. Like no matter what, you're either gonna die or you're going to be like super low.
Yeah, I do. I mean, like Smash TV is great, but then that game is bad.
Yep. I watched Jeff Gerstmann play through all of Total Carnage after years and years of never knowing what the second level of that game was like, and I watched. I was like, this is a terrible game. Like
Yep.
it looks bad, it sounds bad. There's nothing interesting about the gameplay. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched that stream too. It was good. And, I mean, Giant Hitler head at the end is pretty good. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, a little reward for spending all that money. Hey, here's an interesting character.
The most interesting character of them all. Yeah, going back to this is really oof. Hopefully, I don't like screw up at the last second, but yeah, it's been great to just go back to this game because I like it so much. And it's got me like thinking of all the really just like there's so many more really viable shmups that I want to show to people than I would think of at first. There's just years of crazy stuff. Well, I definitely want to show stuff that is just kind of weird
So
and
yeah,
atypical.
cool
I
stuff.
gotta get Parodius. I mean, that'll be hard because that has checkpoints because Gradius is hard to go back to, but also you play as a penguin or an octopus and you fly around. So it's pretty good. Because it's a parody of Gradius. Except not really, because a parody implies some sort of point. It's just Gradius, but weird things.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Someone was discussing it in this, and it might have been abject suffering in the same context as Choaniki.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Choaniki also. God, I forgot about Choaniki's existence. That is very special too. I'm trying to remember. Uh, I feel like I had something on my mind. I think I was probably just going to list dumb character names from Touhou 15, such as the final special extra boss being Heketia Lapis Lazuli. That's all one word.
That's a good name.
Actually, my favorite is like the regular final boss is just named Junko. Just a regular name. No last name either. And she's surrounded by the weirdest stuff.
Yeah, this is a very pretty boss pattern.
Yeah, I like this one. So I've won now, but there's just these extra patterns for bonus points. And every time you can't bomb them, there's no lives to worry about. But if you fail, it advances the clock by an hour. Oof. I messed up.
Ooh,
Yeah, maybe it's a half an hour. I don't remember now, but yeah, I can't remember exactly how many there are. But I'll get the good ending no matter what. It's just for bragging rights and score and such. Oh yeah, there's. Yeah, that's probably actually not that hard. I probably just sit in the right place and I would dodge them, but I sure as heck didn't.
very cool.
it was a long, kind of nice ending, probably. For mentioning,
Was it about an hour? That's a
yeah,
pretty decent length for a game.
yeah, I like that. They're mentioning Gensokyo, the place where this takes place, is like a part of Japan that was where all the supernatural things live. That's just sealed off from the outside world. And then,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, one of the games is about a god coming in from outside, and that character is good. Like, there's another Shrine Maiden character who is from the outside world. So her story in one of the fighting games is she thinks she shot a giant mecha. And she's like, well, I mean, there's all sorts of monsters here. There could be a mecha. I definitely want to see if there's a mecha.
Yeah, I like how Alice is just not having any amount of fun.
Yep. They're
Just kind of correction. We're thieves.
yes. This is actually pretty good and funny and actually more comprehensible than like last night for practice. I played through as Team Ghost. They're ghosts, and the doctor character that we saw a few times, Aaron, shows up, and the leader of the ghosts tries to poison her because like you seem kind of useful. I'd like to have you around.
That's a great concept.
So yeah, she's like the final boss in the previous game, and I think her whole thing is she's making spring not come. She's taking all the, I don't know, springness to try and wake up a body she found under a tree, which is her body. She just forgot.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really want to play more of these. I have them all just sitting in a folder on my desktop.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up getting getting going deep into a hole now and seeing if I can beat a couple of my other favorites. There's only one that I've actually beaten at one credit, and that's number 13. So if you want a pretty reasonable one, I would say 13.
Good to know.
And the final boss of that game's superpower, according to the wiki, is being able to hear 10 things at once. Although one thing I do like is start by playing on the highest difficulty a few times, and then when you go to like a reasonable level, uh, you're pretty much Goku. You're taking off the weighted clothing. It'll seem so much easier.
Oh yeah, that's something they're doing with all these games, and they make it so much more fun.
Yeah, it's definitely not a thing that you'll just like beat quickly and kind of do. It's okay. It's not like there. I mean, there's a story. There's fun dialogue. I've been enjoying it, but it's not story game. It's kind of a long term project. But I mean, in the end, these all come from arcade games, so they're not going to be for everyone.
So yeah, yeah, this is a really cool stream. Thank you for having
Yeah,
the time to watch. Because yeah, like, I've been trying to get better at these games and like learn more about how to play them, and just watching you play and the things you do that I never realized. It's like, oh, that totally do that.
oh yeah, totally. I mean, that's how you do it. You can watch videos because there's tons of really good high level play that you won't be able to just repeat, but it'll give you ideas. And yeah, and thanks for coming on at any time because I want to make a habit of this.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna get some old stuff next, I think.
And I'm gonna dip out and get some more food.
Yeah, food is good.
All right.
All right, yeah, if anyone watched, thanks, and I'll see you guys on Slack.